Hello everyone. Product manager is one of the most sought after roles in the industry right now. The global demand for product managers is increasing in the last several years. And role of product managers has different layers and requires different skills in different situations. And add to this a digital transformation that adds a new layer of competency to this role. Hi, I'm Sujeet. I'm a product manager at Amoeboids, an Atlassian Platinum Marketplace partner. And through this podcast, we aim to bring together product leaders and product managers across the world to share their views, insights, and best practices on the evolving area of product management. In today's podcast, we have with us Shashank Pandya, who is a product manager at Osmosis Learn. He's a mechanical engineer and have worked across many domains like mechanical systems, IoT, and edtech. Hello, Shashank, and welcome to today's podcast. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Sujeet. Good evening. Thanks for inviting me. It's an honor and a privilege to be on this August platform, especially the kind of work your company is doing. It's very amazing. And the vision to make the life of product managers much easier. I think the time demands it, and the industry also demands it.
Yeah. Right. So let's get started with this, Shashank. My first question to you is that, last 3 years, the world has changed a lot through the pandemic, and we have seen a lot of transformation happening across the many domains, and especially the one domain that you have worked in, like edutech, has definitely seen a lot of changes in this these 3 years. So how this, the pandemic and all this transformation that has happened in the last 3 years has impacted your role as a product manager?
Yes, that's a brilliant question, Sujeet. So previous to the companies that I worked in post-pandemic, I was working with Byju's. And in Byju's, I was predominantly involved into sales and getting the customer insights. We always used to think that, the model is going to be more like B2B, B2C, offline classes is going to be the trend. While talking to customers, we always used to get that feedback that what is online training? Is it going to be really effective or not? And then pandemic happened. And post that, I think everybody knows that, online teaching and, online edtech market completely skyrocketed after that. Everything got online, even your meetings got online, your communication got online, your work got online. Post that, especially in companies, learning and development also got online. So when corporates were pushed to go online, obviously the training industry, the education industry, be it higher education, secondary education, they were also compelled to go online. Of course, with a different kind of format and setting. They were mostly using Zoom and Zoom classes. And then by the time, post 6-7 months of pandemic, a lot of different companies got up, right? And a lot of different ideas popped up into the market in the form of really good products like Teachment. A lot of LMS got, into the market. LXPs also got a lot of response to the market. So a lot of the market got completely cluttered with range of LMS, LXPs, and ERPs post-pandemic. And one of the core of all these softwares was revolving around content. So the content was like SCOM, or it could be video-based content, audio-based content, podcast, Zoom classes, everything just, skyrocketed. And it gave, I would say, a completely different base for new edtech players to come in. The industry grew. Of course, new players got in and new insights got generated, which resulted in new kind of products coming into the market with different value propositions. So that has been the experience. Now with, the industry getting back to offline space, now there is a lot of shift from these online software companies to, going for offline program, offering certain use cases or feature and functionality that are more apt for an offline setting. And to increase their value addition, they have opted for specific courses or blended courses that they are offering as a value proposition to these areas.
Right.
So these areas ranges from schools to 11th and 12th K-12 market, from there to higher education and to training institutes and learning and development across corporates. Yeah.
Okay. So now, like you mentioned, there are sweeping changes. Like first we went from offline to online, and now post pandemic again we are settling down again, a kind of a hybrid thing. So bit of online and again coming back to some of offline like things. So as a product manager, again now right now you are working in edutech, right? So what is that biggest challenge that you have in your role right now?
Yes. So biggest challenge is to set the roadmap.
Right.
So I would say for a product, the roadmap is set for next 2-3 years. Especially if you see in the SAS domain in pharmaceutical or aviation, product roadmap is for 1 or 2 years, right? But edtech is such an industry which in which trend changes very easily. Trend changes in time at a very fast pace. Lot of players just pop in. There's a huge competition out there, and there are a lot of disruptors also into the market. Disruptors, I would say, people who have built something which really disrupts everything. Like for in this case, Moodle as an LMS, right? You can just approach them, sign up, give your credentials, put the requirements, and they'll set it up for you in couple of days, right? Whereas building a specific SAS platform for a specific organization, learning management system, takes a lot of time, right? 1 or 2 months or maybe 5-6 months, right? So companies who have been able to, reduce, because the industry is very time focused and there is very less time. People who have, or I would say companies who have been able to deliver in less time, with particular value proposition, they have been able to penetrate market very easily, and that has been the trend. Yeah.
Okay.
And from a the change in the product roadmap perspective or challenges for product managers, the biggest challenge for product managers, I would say, is to listen to the market, listen to the customer, and devise, I would say, put those features and functionalities in your product with those, addressing to those specific pain points. But with the change in market, also ensure that these pain points are something on which you can pivot and then, have a different product or different version of product altogether. That is the major challenge, to be able to catch up with the changing trend.
Right. Rightfully said. So now you just mentioned about the product roadmap, setting up the right roadmap, and which is catering to the changing environment around us. So having worked on multiple products so far in your career, what according to you are the key ingredients of a successful product roadmap?
So in my opinion, key ingredients for a product are 3 things. First is a very good UI. If the UI and UX is not good, then obviously user is going to drop off somewhere down the line. So UI and UX is very crucial. Number 2 is the kind of pain points its features and functionalities are offering. Obviously, let's say there are certain products in the market which have got like 25-30 different features and functionalities, right? Especially in the K-12 market, I won't name the product. But user who buys these products hardly use 3 or 4 features, right? So the whole sales and the whole value proposition of acquiring those products or using those products revolves around 3-4 pain points to which 3-4 feature functionalities are designed, right?
Okay.
So it is very important in a product to have those 2-3, I would say 3 or 4 features which solves a very big pain point for the user.
Okay.
We might have 10, 12 or maybe 15 plus features and functionalities, but 3 or 4 core features is supposed to be there which solves a particular pain point. And third, very important is what is your USP? What is your unique value proposition for the product, right? And that helps you stand out. Based on that USP only, you have a different narrative with which you target the market. You have a marketing campaign around it, you do sales around it, right? So that USP is supposed to resonate with the customer's pain point. So USP is also very important. That is completely dependent. USP is the base for your marketing, sales, as well as your branding. So one has to be very sure that what sort of USP you are bringing to the product. So these 3 things. I would repeat, USP, what are the features you are offering, and UI UX for the product.
Okay, that's a great way to look at it. So, while we are on this topic, again, another area that any product manager always faces, a kind of a challenge, is a product prioritization, right? So you mentioned a bit about it right now in the previous answer, but can you elaborate more, like when you have a bunch of features in your product roadmap or in your product backlog, and now you have to prioritize some out of them for your next releases. So what is the technique or a particular method that you use to prioritize items in your product backlog?
Very simple, Sujeet. We have, I would say, two criteria for prioritizing the features. Number one is, what is the value addition of these features? Suppose there is 4 features, right? And we have to rank which feature to take, right? And how do we prioritize? Very simple. The one which has got the maximum impact for the customer, or which addresses a bigger pain point for the customer, we prioritize that one. That is the number one criteria for prioritizing. Second criteria is from a, I would say, agile methodology and product manager perspective. Very important to actually, I would say, put things in different sprints, right? And that is a very key criteria for prioritizing your features. So if you have a feature, assigning those work hours, or I would say man hours to those features, based on which you will be, putting those, or I would say selecting those features in different sprint releases. That is very important, right? So how much work hour is required for that specific feature? That's very important. Yeah, that is the second criteria, I would say, for prioritization. How much time it is going to deliver that specific feature.
Okay, so efforts and impact.
Yeah,
these are the two things that you predominantly look into while prioritizing features. So there, like I mentioned in the introduction, a product manager is not just about the product, but there are a lot of things out there. There are a lot of layers around the role of a product manager, right? So you are surrounded by many stakeholders around you. Internally, you have an engineering team, a QA team, a sales team, a CRM team, and externally, you have your clients, your users, your sponsors. So you have a higher management. Everyone is looking up to the product manager who is going to drive the show for that particular product, right? So stakeholder communication while handling so many stakeholders internally as well as externally becomes a very important skill for any product manager. So as a product manager, having worked so many years now, any particular approach or particular channels or method that you follow for maintaining a good stakeholder communication, of building good relationship with various stakeholders?
Yes, Sujeet, that's a very good question you have asked. And one of the things I always, I was a big fan of this quote that product management is people management.
Right.
And people are emotional people, right? No matter how much logical or how much from a magnifying glass of professionalism you see, or how much of a magnifying glass you see from a business point of view, a professional point of view, or logical, every human being is emotional, right? And from a product management point of view, where the job is completely around people management, if somebody is leading by empathy is the, I would say, key to crack product management, right? Of course, managing expectations requires you to understand their problems, their expectations, their aspirations, their pain points. It's very important. And as a human being, you get that understanding by dealing them with empathy. Right? Once you have established empathy, it becomes very easy. So empathy here means understanding their perspective, putting yourself in their shoes. I would say understanding their emotions. Also, I would say building that rapport, right? Especially with the customer, if you have a very good rapport, things get very easy for you to manage.
Right.
If you haven't built rapport, it's very difficult. And as a product manager, one has to manage your energies very well, right? So if you put energy in understanding people, helping them out, building connections, dealing them with empathy, it pays off in the long run. It helps you in getting things done at much less efforts.
I think, Shashank, I completely resonate with you when you talk about the empathy. Even in my experience, not just in Amoeboids, but even in my previous organization, I've been into situation like you mentioned, we are working with the people and managing the people. So it always happens when we work with so many stakeholders. There is sometimes some friction that happens, some disagreements that happen, and when you know have that approach of empathizing with the stakeholder, it always helps to resolve those conflicts or disagreements in your amicable ways without having impact on your product operation. So that's a really good approach to have. While we are on this topic of stakeholder management and communication, just like one thing that I would like to highlight here is that at Amoeboids, we have developed an app based on Jira, which is called automated release notes, which kind of helps all the product managers or project managers who are in charge of having stakeholder communication. Whenever there is a release, they send out the release notes to different stakeholders in different formats. Then they send out those weekly or monthly or daily reports to various stakeholders. So it always takes a lot of your time to draft all those reports and send out to various stakeholders through different channels of communication. So through ARN, for the teams who are using Jira, we help them to automate these repetitive tasks of stakeholder communication, so that everyone in the team as well as your customers are informed about the changes that you are doing in the product, and as well as the status of the work that you are doing in your releases. So that's the thing that I want to highlight here. So while I talked about this tool called ARN that we have developed, any particular tool that you always carry in your toolbox, no matter which project you are working in?
Honestly, Sujeet, we were using Jira and MS Word to create those release notes.
Okay.
And I bet you, release notes is a very time-consuming task. Right?
Right.
I don't know, but I had one of the experiences wherein, directly copy pasting the Jira IDs. Yes. Sometimes if Jira IDs have not been created properly, it takes huge amount of time to actually sort those Jira tickets out, aggregate them. It's a very time-taking task. Right? Right. And on Friday, it consumes somewhere around 2-3 hours. Sometimes, you have to sort everything out, get the update. It's a time-consuming task. And the kind of problem you're solving, I think, wonderful. Really, really happy to hear that.
Yeah. All right. So Shashank, my last question to you is that, so you have a range of experiences in your career so far, right? You started as a mechanical engineer, then you entered into edtech with Byju's, then you had your own startup, and now you also worked in IoT, I believe, in one of the organizations, yeah. And then now again in edtech with Osmosis. So with so many, different kind of experiences that you have, any favorite assignment that you handled so far, which give you immense pleasure on your personal level, satisfaction and learnings that from that?
Yes. So my personal best, I would say, or my personal favorite was one of the products we built for one of the clients based out of Bangalore International Airport. Okay. We built it for Air India. And most interesting part of that project was, especially from my context as a product manager, was I took the complete responsibility of the project. During that time, due to some circumstances, our project manager had left. And then I had to, step up and take the role of project manager as a product manager. And during those uncertain times, taking the lead and going out of your comfort zone, and then starting off with, talking to the customer, going down to the airport, getting the requirements, then flying back to Hyderabad, going to the whiteboard, designing those wireframes, designing those features, showing it to client, do those, 3-4 iterations, and then finally create a, PRD, get it signed off, and then deliver it in 2.5 months by writing Jira tickets for those documents. Okay. And then icing on the cake was getting the opportunity to, go down to airport and literally, pick those hardwares and install it by your hand, and then pick up the beacon and do the testing, coordinating with your team, and then eventually, negotiate with the customer to get a sign off. That was a beautiful feeling wherein we got experience of creativity, people management, time management, pressure, negotiating with client, and getting the sign off and leading team. brilliant opportunity, or I would say that was a brilliant experience that I gained there.
Yeah, that's really looks like a wholesome experience, like, right?
Yes,
From the
yes.
start to end to end, what we call, that's like it. So that's the wonderful thing that you shared. So thank you so much, Shashank, for sharing these valuable insights. I'm really sure our listeners have a lot of takeaways from this conversation. Thank you so much, and I hope you also enjoyed this conversation.
Likewise, Sujeet, I really enjoyed the discussion, and I'm really impressed with the pace. Amoeboids are attacking the market. I really like the pace. And, the team is very professional, and the product is really good. I will be cheering you guys through your success. Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shashank. And
Thank you.
to all the listeners, thank you so much for joining us today. And for more such insightful content, do follow Amoeboids on our LinkedIn page, on our YouTube channel as well. You can also visit our website, amoeboids.com, for more details. Thank you so much, and see you in the next episode of this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujeet. Have a good evening.
Thank you.